Welcome to today's meeting, Tuesday, February 1st, 2022, of the West Seneca Central School District Board meeting. If we can begin with the pledge to the flag. Mr. Farr, would you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to begin the meeting with number 2, public comments, and this is on agenda items only. The public comments section is a time set aside for the community to speak directly to the Board of Education. You should note that this section of public comments is for only items related to the agenda. The second section later on is for any other comments. Each speaker is given 3 minutes with the total allotted time to last no more than 30 minutes. When called, please step up to the podium and state your name and address. Please be respectful in your comments and do not divulge any personal or confidential information. The information shared will be carefully considered and the appropriate person will contact you. If you'd like to be contacted, please leave your information with the district clerk. And do I have anyone signed up? Okay. Do I have anyone signed up? Is anyone looking to speak on any agenda items? Okay, thank you. Remember, we have the second one at the end of the meeting, and we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, great, thanks. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. So a few things going on. A couple of things here I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware of. So the mask mandates, I just wanted to go ahead and just give whatever update we have as of this point. Obviously, everybody's aware that last Monday, I think it was last week at this time, or I'm sorry, it was last Monday, there was a state Supreme Court judge downstate that had ruled that the mandate was unconstitutional. The appellate court ruled and actually just issued a statement yesterday that basically just said that the mask mandate's in effect as long as the state is going to be going through the appeal process. So at this point, we're still just kind of standing by. They actually had a March 2nd date that they cited in a document that I saw today. I know I forwarded onto the board. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. I know Governor Hochul also, though, said hers ends actually February 21st. So, you know, at that point in time, honestly, this could all be kind of a moot point. She may just be lifting it. I really don't know what going to be the next step is, but I think everyone's kind of eager to kind of take that next step and kind of move on and sort of live with the pandemic, as people have been saying lately. So that's just one of the update there. A couple things here as well related to that. So Governor, some of you may have seen the governor announced that she's going to be supplying or making sure that school districts have tests to send home with kids before the upcoming break. It could be either one test or 2 tests. So we do have a lot of tests. So we're going to be making sure, I think it's likely going to be in the backpacks, I think is what we're going to be doing with this to ensure that we make sure that everybody who wants them gets them. You know, we did get a little bit of feedback with the 2 drive-thrus that a few parents just couldn't make it. I would just say to anybody, and I guess I'm not just saying this to the board, but we have tests in our buildings. If you need a test, call the building main office. We have tests. We can give them to people. If you're comfortable, we'll go ahead and send them home with your children. We will be sending out a communication over the next couple of weeks to our families once it becomes a little bit more clear what the governor has in mind in terms of test distribution, but I believe the intent was similar to what it was just coming off the holiday break. So essentially, we've got a lot of tests we're looking to give them to people to be able to utilize, and that's for staff as well as family, you know, students and whatnot. So more to come with that. Staying with COVID, the Test to Stay program. So we got that up and running. We had it in place for on the 18th, coming off the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We really didn't have much business there for the first couple of days. Since that time, we probably had, I want to say it was a total of like 69 tests that we've done. We've had 1 positive test in the district as a result of those 69 tests. So we did have testers from Buffalo Home Care in every building helping to implement this program. We're going to be communicating with this over the next day or so, but we're going to be basically, we think we can handle all the testing needs in just a couple of our buildings. So we're looking to be able to scale that back a little bit. I will say it's extremely costly to have it in our current structure right now and to only have 69 students total over the district of 6,000 kids test and only 1 test positive. We want to be a little bit more efficient with our use of resources. So what we're looking to do probably is have a setup. It's going to be at Clinton Street Elementary and West Elementary, so east side of town, west side of town, probably starting next Monday. 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. that we would have folks from Buffalo Home Care. We don't need quite as many folks, so that's going to be a more efficient use of our resources. We would want to steer people on the east side of town to Clinton and on the west side of town to West Elementary. This is before the start of the school day, so you're not going to be bumping into a whole lot of students and staff. We'll do this for a little while. I frankly don't know how much longer this is going to be something that we're doing. It could be a matter, a month and a half from now, we may not be doing this anymore. But for the time being, it's enabling some students to be able to stay in person. So, and I know some other districts are only doing one central location. I can tell you districts even comparable in size to us. So, we'll scale back to 2 and see kind of where that takes us. We do have some ability to continue to adjust from there. The good news, honestly, is that our numbers regionally are declining overall from a COVID standpoint. I think that's great news. The governor has alluded to that. Dr. Burstein, our health commissioner, has alluded to that, as has the county executive. So, you're hearing it everywhere that the numbers are starting to go down, which is very encouraging for us. So, I just threw out a whole bunch of stuff right now. I do have one more item I wanted to be able to cover. Any questions on that information before we move on? Okay, so just a little update from a transportation standpoint. You'll see that we are looking to be able to put a clerk in the transportation department. So this is a position we actually had a few years back. We just never filled it when it became vacant, is my understanding. But transportation, as everyone knows, is kind of a tough area right now. And anybody that is working in the office right now, they have CDLs, so they're driving. So basically what happens every day, every morning and every afternoon, is that a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon, there's no one there to answer the phones. Just had a conversation with a gentleman this afternoon, and to be honest with you, I think his concern was warranted. Just, you forward the calls to somebody, but you're forwarding them to somebody who may not have the information or doesn't have access to be able to pick up a radio and say, hey, bus number 12, what's your status or what's going on? So we want to go back to the model we had before. We actually have somebody be able to answer the phone, a little customer service for our families, and also for our staff as well. As a building principal, I used to pick up the phone and call transportation all the time. I can sure do that right now, but I can't. I'm calling somebody's cell phone and they're probably driving, so they really can't answer it. So just to have somebody who kind of knows what's going on, who can take down information for us, I think it's going to be really important for our families to have that level of support, but it's for our staff as well. So any questions on that? Okay, so I just wanted to update everybody a little bit too. I mentioned a while ago we were looking to this program called Traversa. I know I sent a little bit of an update just to the board last week, but this is something that looks very exciting for us. So this program is it's a routing program for us. The fact that it's compatible with our Power School, our student information system, is that in and of itself is worth its weight in gold, because we're not having to meld two systems together. Every time somebody has to enter data into a system, you have the chance for error. So this way, once it goes into Power School, it automatically every night will talk to Traversa, which is fantastic. Much more efficient from a routing standpoint. And if you had to break apart school buses, they literally go through and they look at all the stops, and you can, on a mouse, just grab all the sites you wanted and just slide them into a different bus, as opposed to having to go through manually and look at each stop. It does have the capability for iPads, which is really nice too, and I think those iPads could even talk to drivers as they're driving to say, make a left here or whatever. That might involve a little bit more training. I think what we would probably look to do to start is just maybe run a pilot with the iPads and then gradually start to phase them in as people became more comfortable with them. So it's web-based as well. So, if we have somebody who does the routing, or if there's some sort of an emergency, they can operate this from anywhere. It doesn't have to be hard as software, on somebody's hard drive. So that's another benefit to it as well. That somebody could literally be home if they were ill or something and had to change something at the last minute. They could. Another benefit to this too is it's about 70% aidable. It's in transportation, so whatever this costs, this comes right back to us the following year. So there's a little bit of setup fees, but ultimately this, to me, makes all the sense in the world. So it's something we're going to look to be able to get moving on, to be able to have in place fully for next year. So I'm very excited about that as well. So any questions on that?
Will it be staffed early, like for the early bird bus?
Yeah, we still have to work out the hours, but I think we're trying to target basically your high user times, right?
Okay.
Times when you normally have somebody sitting in the office to be able to answer the phone, but they're not there because they've been, absorbed into the transportation route. So still have to work through exactly what the times would be.
I think it calls between 6 and 7 a.m.
Yeah. It could end up being some sort of a split shift too, to be honest with you, because the midday wouldn't be quite as essential to have them there as it would be kind of during your high frequency times. So
Okay.
to be determined. So, but we know we need someone.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, that's all I have.
Move on to the board president's report. Just again, want to take a few minutes on the rooms coming together. Thank everyone involved. Seems pretty comfortable. We have a nice spot for the student reps. Nice little on-air sign that says when we're on air. Microphones, everything seems to be working good. Appreciate the new sign, not too extravagant, just something nice and on the wall. So appreciate that. Appreciate all the hard work. And if anyone has any ideas or questions about the setup, we're still working through it. That's about all I have. Move on to the assistant superintendent's report. Sure. You want to start with John?
Sure. Dr. Saboni?
Good evening, everyone. Just a brief report for me tonight. I just wanted to recognize we have a few resignations on our board, retirements, and one of our administrators leaving us, Mr. McCullers, wishing him well in his next venture. This is the time where we begin to get notified of our teachers and our staff members that are retiring at the end of the year. So it's a mixed emotion as they're getting excited about the next steps in their journey. It leaves us with some vacancies. So kind of gearing up for the spring here, in some of the work that I oversee. It's a busy time, but an exciting time. Already beginning thinking and planning for next year, but certainly busy. And just wanted to congratulate all of our new appointments tonight. New employees to the district, as well as those leaving us. So that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions for me. Nice seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Mrs. Persico?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Just a few updates that I wanted to share with you. We have our middle school scheduling committee that has been meeting regularly and will continue to meet. We recently met to talk about our specials offerings at both of our middle schools, and we are working to align those so that they are consistent in what we're offering and consistent across the grade levels. We are in the process right now of acquiring sample schedules from other schools in the area, across the region, so that we can take a look at different models and really kind of tweak and take from bits and pieces that we think would be most beneficial to our schools here in West Seneca. Speaking of our middle schools, we did have the on-site consultant teams visit both middle schools last month for a total of 2 days. They had student interviews with parents and teachers and staff. And students rather, and they asked pertinent questions regarding their school comprehensive education plans, how things were going, and they did provide a final report for our building principals so that there are some short-term recommendations that we need to work on implementing for the immediate, and then also some long-term recommendations moving forward. They're mostly in line with one another, but we are working together to implement some of those steps and procedures. We had a very interesting, exciting summer programming meeting on Monday with our elementary, middle, and high school staff to be able to work on offering summer remediation programs for our kids. So at the elementary level, I know we shared with you at the very beginning of the school year the review of the summer camp that we had at the elementary level, so we're looking to expand upon that for this summer and quite frankly double the number of offerings. And have more opportunities for kids, working alongside with Stephanie Wright as well to make sure that we have kids that have enrichment opportunities through the LEAP program and other community education courses. We will be shooting for in person in all 3 levels. The high school information shows that we had a higher success rate when we had students in person, so we're going to go back to an in-person format for the high school. We have also been working as a middle school and high school team to review our course offerings, in particular math and especially algebra. We have a variety of courses that we offer in algebra, and we're looking really to focus those sections for kids for whom they are appropriate. So really looking to expand enrollment in some of our 1-year algebra courses as opposed to the 2-year stretch. We find that many times when we have students in that 2-year stretch, that it does prohibit them from moving forward with advanced designation. So we want to be able to support our students and give them the scaffolding that they need to be successful. So we're looking at also providing an intense summer program for math-specific 8th grade students who will be 9th graders in the fall. So that is in development right now. Our second day-to-day is scheduled for this Friday, fingers crossed, weather aside, and we are doing some teacher training for the session. So we have team leaders for each of these sessions. On Friday, we have a data discussion protocol. It's modeled much like the Atlas protocol, so that when we're looking at our data, we're asking pertinent questions that dive in and probe into the data and really help us to answer some questions about our curriculum and instruction. So we are looking forward to that process. And then one exciting opportunity that we just learned about is the kindergarten transition program, and there is a grant opportunity for this. So we are going to have a meeting next week, Tuesday, with a variety of stakeholders where we will discuss what is entailed and what we could offer for this. I think this would be a great opportunity, especially given the fact that we have students in community-based organizations in our pre-K programs as well as in district. And so really kind of leveling the playing field, giving that stool so everyone can see over the fence at the same height. So we're really excited about it. So more to come on that. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Just piggybacking on Carm's question about Friday, I just want to thank all the students that caught up with me today and made some suggestions about weather and possible snow days. So thanks to all the folks over here at West Elementary. Appreciate that.
I think, isn't that what our presentation is on today?
Yeah.
Why we should close? Jackie?
Mrs. Fowler?
Good evening. Just to give you a little bit of an update of what's happening in the special education and the pupil services office. We are working in collaboration with Mr. Thiel and the business office to really look carefully at our budgeting and our planning for next school year. This is about the time where we start looking at kids and a variety of different program services and needs in which that they have and how we will be able to support them. Similarly, our CSE meetings are in full swing. For many of you who partake in that, we appreciate that. That's a very labor-intensive process, but a very important process as we review each student's IEP and take a look at their program services and their needs moving forward. That will also happen at our preschool level and taking a look at those who are in preschool currently and coming into kindergarten and how we may be able to support them and their needs as well. Additionally, as you know, one of our focus areas this year is social emotional learning. And Dr. Logren and I have really been taking a look at various resources that are made available. That seems to be one of those hot topics in education right now, which we all agree is an important area. So we're looking at a variety of different resources that might be something that we take into consideration as we move forward. We have just started, like I said, but we will be looking at including some of our PPS team members to be a part of that as we really dive deep into some of those resources and how they could be of assistance to us. Well, those are some updates from our office. Any questions? All right, if anything comes up, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next one, Megan, if you want to go for student rep from West Senior.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to recognize Hugh's girls hockey team. We actually have a hockey team this year for girls. Their playoffs is actually tonight. They have 4 wins this season and 1 tie. Boys Fed hockey is also playing as well. Mr. West is a fun activity that we do, and that is coming up. And we make it like so people, like usually boys will run and then they make like routines and stuff, and it's like a fun event that we all go to. That also has the faculty basketball game. I'm not sure if that's happening this year, but hopefully it will be. Another exciting thing is that we are actually able to have inductions for Honor Society in person this year. So Spanish Honor Society, we're doing an induction soon. And Business Honor Society, I believe, is February 3rd. So we get to have those in person in the auditorium as opposed to being online like last year. scheduling for next year is starting up again, and I'm happy that we get to like be in person with our guidance counselors to plan and figure out what courses we want and talk to our teachers about what courses are best for us. And then the last thing I would like to talk about is a program that we're doing called the Seal of Biliteracy, which is it's for students who are in foreign language, and we get to do a presentation, I think our senior year, where we present to a group of people, and it's based on our English class and one foreign language class, and you choose, like I'm a dual language student, so I get to choose like whatever higher level language you're in. So I'll be doing it with English and Spanish, and then like some other kids will be doing it with English and French, and you just do a presentation, and it'll be a seal that goes on your diploma at graduation. And I think that's a really cool program that we have.
Yeah, I saw them last year. They were fantastic. They were in the
Yeah.
library over at West Senior. Those are the ones that I saw, and they really were outstanding.
Yeah, we have a ton more this year. We have like the numbers are exponentially growing.
Just so you know, you were also kind of helping our district too when you look at overall rankings and stuff.
Thank
Not
you.
that that's why you do it, but hey.
Thank you. And that's all I have tonight. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. We have a promote the upcoming musical real quick, right? That's
Yeah, that's the
coming
9th through the 12th.
9th through the 12th, and then Mr. Ursing is receiving an award.
Yes.
I don't know the exact date. I believe it's the 15th or 16th.
Yeah, I don't know that
Am I right?
date.
Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday in February coming up, and I saw on Facebook that there were tickets still available. So if anyone wants to reach out to the West Seneca Chamber, just to give them a plug.
16th, yeah.
16th. Go, support Mr. Ursing and
Yes.
check out a great event. Again, thank you for coming tonight.
Like 3 out of like 5 years, there was a snow day immediately following that too. I'll just point that out. So, come support your chamber.
We'll move on to our presentations. West Elementary, the home of our most recent tour. Thank you for that the other day.
We like showing off. So first off, I'd just like to say thank you to the board for inviting us to come tonight. Back in probably 2019, 2020, before the pandemic, we as a building kind of decided that we wanted to be able to support our students in their social emotional learning. I think Mrs. Fowler mentioned it. We needed a program that wasn't really out there just yet, so we decided to kind of make our own program, and we really wanted to tailor it to our kids. So what we decided to do we decided to call it Be a Better You, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues here who are going to kind of walk you through what we've been doing. I have Carrie Dobmeyer with us. She's an OT in the district, an occupational therapist. Lisa Caprio is one of our school social workers. I have Nubia Cawthard, who's our school psychologist, and Tony Duggan, who's one of our school speech therapists. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Thank you, Dr. Crowley, and thank you to the board for having us. We're really excited about sharing this presentation with you. It won't be long. We just wanted to tell you the impetus of this program really came from the social emotional learning, as Ms. Fowler spoke of earlier. Just to give you a little background, West Elementary houses several 811 classrooms, and those classrooms present challenges for students with exceptional needs. And one of the challenges that these students often come with is self-regulation, self-control, and it can present some difficult times for teachers and teachers' aides. And a while back, Mrs. Pierce, Kieran Pierce, and I were trained in a skill streaming program that's still offered at Canisius College by Dr. Tamir and Dr. Rogers. And skill streaming is a very broken down way of taking common social skills and breaking them down in the most fundamental areas. We also started really learning about other aspects of social skills, like the social thinking program by Marcia Garcia Weiner, as well as having Dr. Muckenbaum from Summit Educational Resources providing some resources to us. So we've been well versed in this program. But when we push into these classrooms and do these group lessons on common social skills, one of the things we always found was teachers were coming out and saying, geez, I wish you could push into our classroom because so many of our students actually need that lesson on how to respond to a greeting or how to say thank you and how to, just have common peer-to-peer social interactions and peer-to-adult, student-to-adult social interactions. Thank you. So we decided, and thank you for Dr. Frawley, she was really the one kind of got us into doing this. She said, what team can we put together? Because she heard the same thing from the teachers. They were saying, we could use this in our classrooms. Could we get these skills and these steps in our classrooms? And Dr. Frawley kind of got us all together and said, let's pull together what we know and let's make our own program. So with her guidance, we were able to kind of pull this all together. So what we do is, it's a team, about 15, 16 of us get together. We talk about the skills that we would like to target for the coming weeks. We customize our own posters. The skill streaming programs and the other programs that are out there, they are very custom made for kids with exceptional needs. But we have a whole building from K to 5, so you're talking about a very different language set from that span. So we have to make this one size fits all to make this make sense for everybody. But our goal is to use the common language so that kids in kindergarten are hearing the same thing that kids in 5th grade are hearing. That's our goal, and so far I think we've been excellent at it. So we select students, we get the teachers to get their star students and maybe some of the students who might need a little work to be our actors in these videos. We customize the steps, we make the posters, we get these students down. Sometimes it's rapid direction, and it's my directorial debut, and it's not always easy, so I'm telling them what to say and how to say it. We like to film the wrong way of doing things, followed by the right way. And one of our unsung heroes who couldn't be with us tonight is Leah O'Malley. She's a social worker. She puts the videos together. So we do the filming, we do the posters. Sometimes I don't have any clip art, so I draw them myself. So it's gone from very primitive to a little better. I get better in coloring. And we post these steps all throughout the school, in the lunchrooms, where everybody can see them. And the idea is we show the video at the beginning of the week, we talk about the steps, we give the students the opportunity to talk about what they saw and what they heard, and then we give them activities throughout the week. And at the end of the week, we recap. And throughout the week, our staff is really good at recognizing those students who are seen or caught doing these skills. So if you're good at ignoring distractions, now you may have a child in the classroom who's very distracted. Well, it's nice to get a positive shout out or a little praise, and then that's read over the intercom. Hey, congratulations to Johnny for ignoring distractions. This has been a thing he's been really working on, and he gets a little positive shout out. So we get all of these things that we try to catch them at. And at the end of the week, they all have an opportunity to say what they need to work at and maybe what they felt really good about. And these skills are posted throughout the month and for the whole year on what they've already done. So just because it's been covered doesn't mean it's over. Yeah, we are being grateful, and these are some of the activities that are in the folder. So each of the teacher has a shared drive full of resources that they can do throughout the week exhibiting these skills. And we're going to take a minute here to show you an example of a video of being grateful. And again, these videos are done. We talk to the students help collaborate with the acting and how they're going to show it.
It's Oscar-worthy.
Yeah. But it's great. The kids love seeing themselves. You want to play the video?
This problem.
Okay.
Tony, would you like to present?
Yeah, I can absolutely.
Maybe you'd have to act it out.
Wouldn't be the first time I had to do something like that. But.
You know, and it's really beneficial because, like Mr. Duggan said, it's language that's being used throughout. You know, and then I carry it over at home because Dr. Crowley will send a newsletter out for every single parent. So this week is flexible thinking, and that's a word that I'm constantly telling my 5th grader. So today when she heard it, she's like, Mom, did you come up with the flexible thinking presentation? I'm like, no, it's just I already knew. So it's carried over at home as well. And what we always tell parents, when it's carried over from home to school to any other, environment, it helps for them to integrate and learn that skill.
And I hope we can get the video up. In case we don't, we do have opportunities for people to see them. the parents of West Elementary also get an opportunity to watch these videos. And the videos are great. The kids love seeing themselves act. Just a case in point, we had, again, today's skill was knowing what you're feeling. Because I think in today's culture, and we said it too, after the COVID pandemic, we all came back, kids were starved for socialization. You know, kids were starved for peer-to-peer interaction. And some of those were a little rough. So giving them opportunities to really practice it, and it's not just for the kids who need the work. The kids who are really good at it learn to become role models. They know they're good at it. It's human nature to know what you're good at and try to show it off and teach it to others. And we see that all the time. Kids are talking, we're hearing read the room a lot. Read the room, read the room. Oh, you know, the kid walking in and you'll see another kid, hold on, read the room, you know, because everybody's doing work. So find your group and go do it. Be a part of the group plan. All of these things are being integrated into their common language. And we really think it's going to make them better people. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see the video. We'll work on that technology, but again, you just have to trust us when I tell you this is Oscar worthy, and the production is something else. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you to Dr. Crawford for allowing us to do this. We have so much. I'm sorry, Dr. Crawley. He doesn't support it too much. Exactly. He was behind it, Dr. Crawley, for putting it together and making sure that we took this to the next level. We're excited about it, and we hope you all have a chance to see it for yourselves.
Tony, how did you come up with the lists?
So we meet. There are many skills. There's probably about 40 skills just in the skill streaming program, and we all decide what skill that we would like to introduce and reinforce. And some of these are some of our own, like the read the room. We just kind of have to make it fit for K to 5. And
We also ask a lot of the input from the general education teachers that weren't part of the committee. We send out a survey. What are you noticing in your classroom that you're having to address a lot more to correct the behavior, you know, that we can address with our program, and then plus it'll give you more time for instruction. So it was a lot of input from general education as well.
absolutely.
Nice.
But thank you for your time. We're really excited about this program.
Thank you.
I don't know if now is the time, but the people that we were kind of celebrating as our honorees tonight, definitely our nursing staff. Mrs. John and Mrs. Larson, hands down, have really kind of been the glue that have held us together in the COVID world these days, and they are working very hard to keep us all healthy and safe, and we definitely want to honor them as building. So,
Well said.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Dr.
We'll have to send you the makeup.
You know that video's going to pop
Yeah,
I love your mascot. I just want to say I love, Kristen, I just want to say I love your mascot because I was a Depew student, you know, and I cheered for the Wildcats for all those years. And now we're cheering here for the Wildcats, and I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Now we can have our capital improvement project presentation. Young and Wright. Thank you for coming tonight.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. So this evening, we're just going to give you a quick update on all the projects. We'll just give a brief update on the capital outlay and the Smart Schools project. We'll dive into a little bit deeper in the capital improvement project. We'll go over the overall schedule for the projects, touch on the budget, and talk about the long-term plan for West Seneca. So my name is Tori Walzek. This is Christina Weber. We're the project managers for Team West Seneca. And we also have the construction managers with us tonight, Alan and Paul. All right, so the capital outlay project, this year we looked at West Senior High School. We're replacing the pool piping. We just received SED approval, so we'll be looking to get this one out to bid soon so it can get under construction, and it will be wrapped up by June of 2022.
So the Smart Schools project has been going on for a couple of years. We bid the project out last year. We are working at 9 education buildings and the bus garage, so it's both high schools, both middle schools, and 5 elementary schools. Just upgrading the existing wiring, creating the dedicated data closets, and upgrading the phone as well. This is a $3.7 million project. We awarded last year in June, and we are kind of wrapping up on the build-outs of the data closets, and the cabling will continue through the rest of this year. So phase 1 of the capital improvement project, the roof at Allendale, West Elementary, and West Middle, those were completed in 2020, along with the corridor doors at West Middle and West Senior. The East Senior turf field, which everyone I think has seen, was completed in 2020, along with the masonry restoration at that building as well. And then this year, or I guess last year, 2021, we finished up West Senior, along with the masonry and the turf fields there. Okay. So we have the concession stand at West Senior that was put on hold for a little bit, and we met with the district, and we're looking at the drawings now, getting that ready for bid, looking to issue that in March, and then hopefully if everything comes in, we'll be able to award a bid and start construction this year. Okay. So phase 2 includes work at both middle schools, East and West Middle School. Both schools, we actually did the roof project at East Middle last summer, and we have awarded the West Middle, or the district has awarded the West Middle roof for this summer. Along with that, we put the project out to bid, and the board should be reviewing those contracts tonight. That scope includes masonry restoration, exterior doors, gymnasium renovations, interior corridor door, intruder hardware, miscellaneous mechanical, electrical, plumbing, the data closet build-outs, those are at both schools. This is kind of, at West Middle, we have the music wing addition. This is to expand the growing music department at West Middle to create a separate ensemble spaces for each band, chorus, and orchestra. And then creating a secure entry at this building, which does not exist at this time. So we are reconfiguring the main office and student service area to allow for a secure entry so that the building can securely allow visitors to kind of enter without entering into the building. Okay. And along with all the interior scope, we do have some exterior scope. West Middle is including reconfigured bus loop, expansion of the parking lot, and a dedicated parent drop-off to help with the circulation of all the vehicles. And then East Middle, creating visitor parking in the middle of the bus loop, the existing bus loop, to allow parking closer to the main entry. That is actually a secure entry, but it is not a dedicated space. So we're kind of also sprucing up the maintenance area as well. Okay, actually before I go to that, just schedule-wise with this, like I said, we're looking to have the contracts awarded tonight, and you'll start to see contractors and boots on the ground sometime this spring and throughout the summer and through next year. Is there anything you?
Yeah, that previous covers what I had for that.
Alrighty.
So phase 3 of the capital improvement project takes place at the high school. So some of the scope at West Senior is door replacements. We're going to rework the entry so that it creates a secure entry, repair the gym floor, renovate the science rooms, new clock and PA system, and new tennis courts. Some of the scope at East Senior High School includes roof restoration. We're going to renovate the toilet rooms on each floor. We're going to relocate the main office, that way we can create a secure entry there too. Renovate the science rooms also, renovate the music rooms, and we're going to be relocating the art rooms and renovating those as well. So we're wrapping up the final round of user group meetings for these spaces. We've been meeting with your staff directly, so that way they're really integral in the whole design process with us.
And phase 4 is in the not so distant future. We are looking at all 5 elementary schools for phase 4. Once we submit phase 3 to SED this June, we'll be looking to get into phase 4. With this one, some of the overall scope is roof restoration, masonry restoration, mechanical, electrical, plumbing upgrades, gymnasium renovations, intruder door hardware at all the classrooms, and some exterior site work as well. So this one, we are looking at, I know the district has expressed some interest in maybe piggybacking on next capital improvement projects, so we are working with the district with their long-term planning and scheduling.
So this is a schedule of where we are overall with all projects. So you can see phase 2 is going to get hot and heavy here soon with construction. Phase 3 is wrapping up design work. And then like Christina said, once that goes into SED, we're going to start design work for phase 4. Then you can kind of see how that relates to all the other projects going on, like their Smart Schools project and then your yearly capital outlay projects. So as you can see, we're going to start thinking about the next capital outlay project and be working with you guys to decide the scope for that one as well.
So the budget of our current capital improvement project is $75.5 million, and we had outlined 5 major goals of that project. Health, safety, welfare, facilities, infrastructure improvements, building utilities, educational, space program improvements, and site infrastructure improvements. So we've taken those, created the last capital improvement. We'll be working with the district. We had a building condition survey in 2020 with the district, and we also recently did a building condition survey at Winchester Potters. Now that it's an education building, so we'll be working with the district to kind of work through that scope and develop the long-term plan for the district. If anyone has any questions?
Eventually, will all our classrooms have the safety intruder lock system on the doors?
The current capital improvement project does include money for intruder hardware.
All right, will all our classrooms in the district have that?
So are you asking about the access control swipe card or just like intruder hardware?
The intruder.
Yes.
So
at all
the teacher can do that, I mean, from inside.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. That is included in this capital
And
project.
it'll be every classroom.
Yes,
Good.
and some of the offices.
Or stay in place, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And we've been, for each building, we walk around with the district, a hardware consultant, and make sure that every space that students might shelter in place has the proper hardware.
Good, that's good. Too bad we have to do that in this day and age. Yeah.
I don't know if you can answer this, but budget-wise, are we pretty much on target with the budget for this? So that in the last phase, we have money for everything?
At this point, yes, we are on our targeted budget.
I have a question about Westell. The pool in Westell, what phase is that on this? I didn't see it there.
That's not actually in the capital project.
It isn't?
That was closed down a few years back just because it would have been very costly to maintain it, and that's the 5th pool we have. So the plan is, maybe possibly Joe Farr can speak to that a little bit, he's up next, but to fill that in and then just to make that a big, user-friendly space over here at West Elementary School, so.
Okay, so it's not part of the capital improvement then?
Yeah, no, it's not, although we do have some plans to make a corridor to access it easier as opposed to having to go through locker rooms. So
Okay.
again, Joe can speak to that a little bit as well,
All right.
so there's kind of 2 parts to it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Mr. Farr?
Evening, everyone. I wasn't going bricks and mortars, but that question came up about West Elementary. In phase 4, that corridor will be created. We will get the pool filled in. I would like to tell you this summer, it'd be nice, and we're gonna make it into a multi-purpose room that everyone can use.
Okay.
That's it on bricks and mortar. I'm not going that direction tonight. I'm gonna go 2 directions, my people and support, something I think everyone needs to hear. My people, my grounds department, all my departments are second to none. Grounds, I have 2 people drive bus every day, okay? I have 7 people that will have our lots cleared when it snows, plowed, salted. It's equivalent to over 1,100 driveways, just phenomenal what they do. COVID has stretched them. We do all the delivering with our COVID stuff. Not only are, they deliver our cleaning supplies, everything else. Anybody that's been in Ebenezer building sees our COVID stock. We have all kinds of stuff to, keep us prepared for that, keep everyone safe. Just phenomenal. That department's led by Rodney Stetz, my crew chief, just doing a phenomenal job. Then we go to maintenance. That department's led by Dave Kohler now. It's a new position that we set up to have someone streamline the maintenance. Again, can't say enough about them. This in here was just stuff they do on the side. They're just making everything right for the kids every day, making sure all our HVAC, everything else is running, make sure everything's safe. And then we get to our regular building, custodial staff, I'll call it. Since COVID, what they've done, they're there. They're there every day, guys, hitting the high touch areas, sanitizing everything like we've never done before in a school. They're just doing, I can't say enough about my people. They've all stepped up. We've been, like everyone else, we've been short, and they just make it happen. Then we go to my office, which is great. I have Jim Zaki and Vicki Cassio. We're doing all kinds of weird stuff. We're making our own wipes because you couldn't get wipes. The stuff that happens in my office, you just shake your head at. And they're just there ready and willing and to do whatever it takes. It's enough on my people. Support. I can't say enough. Support from the board, administration on getting me people, letting me get a department that can move us forward. For many years, I've just been sitting there, sticking fingers and toes in the dike to hold it up, and the people that support me above me make it a pleasure to come to work some days. Okay, not every day, some days. Anyone have any questions?
Just share with them your new room. When we toured, it was interesting, the supplying for the, clothing and things like that.
Oh, okay. Over at Ebenezer, it's
Yeah.
going to be the,
It's interesting.
what do they call it? What is it?
Clothing pantry?
Clothing pantry. We're setting aside a room there that the CERT used to use, and the police were using for a while. We just came up with something like that. If there's an emergency in the town, the police will be in the Ebenezer building. That's where they will set up command. We made it work so that if that happens, they can still function. We can roll stuff out. We just got together, came up with a plan. It's accessible, easy to get to, and a good space for that to help the community. Anyone else got anything?
Just a
If
thank
you guys
you.
want bricks and mortar, later on in life, I can come
No,
back
I just
and
wanted
give
to say
that, but-
thank you to all your staff for all their hard work.
No, they're
We know.
phenomenal,
We
And
see
all
it
I
every
can
day
say-
as kids.
Right, last presentation, roofs. Roofs make me happy, okay? Roofs plagued me my whole life. Everyone that gets done, and they have 30-year warranties on it, so we're doing what's best for the district in the long run.
So if I could just take a little shout out here, Joe, I had a conversation with Joe earlier today about a situation, and honestly, Joe's not one he just kind of does the job as opposed to talking about the job, and his team is the same way, but as recently as Saturday night, West Senior had a little issue with some of the heating coils, so that found Joe and a group of his guys over there in room 155, and I said to him, would I know that anything happened in there? No, yet they were there for several hours. You probably strolled out of there around midnight after being covered in 50-degree water trying to deal with it. But that sort of stuff happens on a regular, not that we're always falling apart, but I mean...
150, I wish it was 50.
Yeah, okay.
Would have felt better.
I guess the point is, I mean, and I remember as a building principal, I'd be, hearing about something that happened in my building, and, oh yeah, I was in your building at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday or something like that. Like that stuff, you and your team are responding to environmental alarms. You can't have this much square footage in this many buildings that are this old without stuff just going on. So even if it's just responding and everything's okay, or it's under 50-degree water spewing all over you while you're trying to fix something for 3 or 4 hours. And I saying to me, and he said, that's the fun part of my job, actually. That doesn't sound like fun to me, but again, that's just you'll never say it, but I'll say it for you and for your team as well. That you had 3 or 4 guys there with you working on that. Getting water out of there, fixing this, and again, you'd walk in there and not even know there was an issue. So,
And that's what I go back to my people. When I need something, they're there. They're just phenomenal. I'll throw my people in. I call these guys my people too. Young and Righteous do a phenomenal job. I live with them every day. I can't say enough about them either. They're the ones that get me my roofs.
And I know there's been some problems at West Senior with the plumbing and stuff and bathroom issues, but I just wanted to say thank you to you guys because everybody's been complaining about how we have to travel to go find a bathroom because the only one open is in the foyer. But the custodial staff is doing as much as they can, so I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have Dr. Merkel and Mr. Persico coming up for Erie 1 Boces offerings and Academies update.
Hi again.
Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. I got to talk into the microphone, don't I? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us. Pleasure to be here. So we're going to give you a couple quick updates about CTE and the Academies. Mr. Cook, can we have the other presentation?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So just a quick update on our current CT offerings through Erie 1 Boces. So we provided an update on some of the numbers. A couple of the things that I wanted to point out in the presentation. So when you're looking at these, so for example, Animal Science 1, that's the first year. Most of the Boces courses are 2-year courses that they would start in 11th grade and finish in 12th grade. So, for example, these 10 students that were juniors last year are seniors this year. So you kind of go diagonally as you're looking at the numbers. So that's something that Carmen and I are going to be taking a look at because, like right here, we went from 10 juniors to 6 seniors. So we lost 4 students there. So we're going to be taking a deeper look at what happened to those students, why did we lose them, did they change their mind, were they not successful, is there any supports that we need to provide, things like that. So that kind of indicates the red arrows that you'll see here. The blue circles are just some of the programs with higher numbers in them, just to keep an eye on that. See if there's something, like for example, cosmetology, they're at 18 right now. That's almost a whole class of students from West Seneca right there. So maybe in the future we need to adjust our programming to accommodate that. I don't know that we start a COS program because that's quite costly to start a program. But at the same time, if we see that trend for many years, we'll at least have a conversation about it and see if it would make more sense for us to do that. So again, the circles are programs with high numbers, and the red arrows are just showing where we might have lost a couple kids. Electrical systems, very, very popular program. A lot of requests for that again this year. But again, they went from 12 juniors last year to 7 seniors this year. And looking at that, that was a high number, but this year it's kind of back down again. I foresee that going back up a little bit again next year, just because of the requests. And then we get into P-TECH. So we have 10 slots per year for P-TECH. This gets a little tricky because after their second year after Auto Tech 2, they can choose to either go the auto repair route or the auto collision route. So here I was just trying to show that these 10 students that were in P-TECH 2 last year split off, and 7 of them went to the automotive route and 3 of them went to collision route. So we did not lose any students from that particular cohort. So far, we've only lost 1 P-TECH student, and that is right here. There was 8 here, and then there was 7 in the second year. We have our first 4 graduates this year. You can see those 4 from last year split to 2 and 2 here, but they will be finishing up this year, and then they'll be taking the rest of their program through SUNY Erie next year. There's the totals. Carmen's going to talk about New Visions in a second here. Zoology. So the New Visions programs are 1-year programs. Those are mostly for only seniors. So currently we only have 1 senior in a New Visions program, and they are in the zoology program that's hosted at the Buffalo Zoo. So total students, this is East and West combined. I think I did provide a couple of spreadsheets, one for East, one for West, and then all combined together. So currently this year we have 213 total students. And then Carmen's going to talk about the New Visions program.
I think you'll also notice in the numbers that there was quite a jump over the past couple of years, and that is due in large part to your support of the BOCES program for our students. So we are very thankful for you in allowing that for our students. The New Visions program, as Bob mentioned, is a 1-year program. So unlike the ones that Bob just discussed, where a student in 10th grade has to make a decision to be part of the BOCES program for 11th and 12th grade, this is an offering for students who may not have discovered a passion of theirs until they were a junior, because this programming is targeted at students who are seniors and that are also college bound. We have the Enterprise and Entrepreneurship and Legal Academy programs from BOCES. The Legal Academy is housed out of Canisius. In both of these programs, students travel to a variety of places in the community to experience internships. Diesel Technology program is new. That will be offered for next year. And I do believe we had interest at West Senior by at least 1 student. As Bob mentioned, the Zoo, Wildlife, and Conservation careers, that happens out of the Buffalo Zoo. So that's really a hands-on application program for students. It gives them valuable experiences within that career exploration. Connections, health-related careers. This is the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus and Millard Fillmore, where students would go to those 2 locations to have some career experiences as well. And then new for not this fall, but the fall of 23-24 school year, they are looking into an education and teaching program that would be targeted at the secondary level. Currently, they do have something for elementary, but this is really, I think, going to be a benefit for us as we try to have kids really look into teaching as a career. Over the years, there has been an issue with retention as we move forward, and we're really trying to really command presence in the fields because we need it, and we have such valuable opportunities for kids to become teachers. So these are very competitive programs. There are a total of approximately 20 slots. So really, you're looking at potentially 1 student per district for these programs right here. They are self-transporting, and the particular student that fits the mold of this particular programming that BOCES offers are kids who are very highly motivated, self-directed, really having high caliber grades in school. So they're really, I think BOCES is offering a nice variety of programming for a variety of student learners. So we're really excited for the programs and the opportunities that our kids have through BOCES.
Any questions about any of that?
I guess the other question I have is, you know, you said you're looking into different reasons why we may lose a kid here or there. Is this one of those situations where when we have that program slot, it's slotted for those 2 years where it's dedicated if someone were to drop out? Or is it just the 1 year that they're currently in that we're dedicated for?
There's certain programs, so P-TECH and like some of the alternative programs, we have to buy slots every year. But for the CTE programs and the New Vision programs, you pay for whoever goes. So,
Okay.
you know.
Not that I want to see anyone drop out, but if there's a scheduling conflict or a valid reason, it's nice to know. And I do understand the P-TECH is actually a 5-year commitment, right?
Correct.
Yeah. It's nice to see that we've almost maintained the program fully. And the gentleman that presented, maybe 3 years ago, he was just joining the P-TECH program. Would he be part of the graduating class this year? I'm sorry?
One of the Georges you referred to.
Yes. Yeah, is he he was in the first year of the program, I believe, right?
I
Okay.
believe so, yeah. They're seniors this year.
Okay.
That was the year before.
If he ever wants to stop back, and his presentation was amazing, so.
Great.
I can invite him back.
All right.
I just have one more question. Oh, sorry. Ooh, hot mic. Has there ever been any talk of bringing the Education Academy back?
So there's been a lot of interest in that, we'll say. It's been brought up a couple times, and I'll talk about that a little bit in my next presentation.
Oh, great.
I can say that we, as a district, are trying to explore bringing a future teacher club here at both of our high schools. So work through Joe Contafio and his organization, really trying to implement a club here so that we can start to recruit and have some of our own kids work with teachers in our classrooms across the district is a goal of ours that we're looking to get up and running in the very near future.
I did talk to Joe Contafio about that as well. They received a grant from the American Teachers Federation, I believe it was, to start up a club, something along those lines. So we're definitely brainstorming ideas, taking a look at different things, and definitely considering it for sure.
Great.
Cue up the other one, please. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the academies now. Internships, so we're kind of getting to the end of our internship season for the seniors. We had a total of 103 internships. It looks like some of my formatting got a little wonky going from slides to PowerPoint, so I apologize for that. Lots of new internship sites this year. Law Office of Michael and Harrington, Omega Deli, Buffalo Rehab, 20 plus positions. They've been great new partner for us. We've got locations in West Seneca, Depew, Hamburg, all over the place. Seeing everything that they do. There's physical therapists. They even had a position in their accounting department that they gave us. So just seeing all phases of their operation, and they've been great. Manzella Orthodontics is a new one for us. Seneca Ridge Dental, Five Corners Animal Hospital, and Forestry and Pediatrics. That's our district doctor, Dr. Price. She brought on 3 interns this year. They are new spots, so lots of great new places for our interns. Junior achievement, this has been a little bit lower with COVID and everything, but we still had 7 classroom volunteers deliver JA programming to 233 students. West Seneca East and West seniors participated in the stock market challenge virtually this year. There was, a lot of other programming that was canceled. I didn't put it on here. I don't know why, but they're also doing a career exploration program this year. It was actually started out of the Rochester JA branch, I believe, and they brought it here. So a lot of our students are going to be accessing that to do some career exploration. It's like a virtual career expo. So we reached out to our advisory boards, as did many other JA-sponsored school districts, and those businesses are creating content for that virtual database, which is really cool. We're really excited about that. They used to have a big career fair a couple of years ago. We had a little snafu because we wanted to send more than they could take because they served some money, so this kind of helps us with that. and gives our kids opportunities to see a variety of different careers there. Community engagement, 54 students sponsored by 33 local businesses and organizations for Students of Excellence. We're ramping up for Students of Excellence now. The nomination packets are out. They'll be finalized in just a couple weeks, and then we expect to name the next 54 Students of Excellence right at the beginning of March 2nd-ish. Business and Finance, 56 advisory board members, IT Digital Media, 25, EA, 45, ABA, 42, AOLS, 44. We'll be having our next advisory board meeting for the first time in person in a couple of years, tomorrow morning. We are doing it at the community center, West Seneca Community Center, where the library and stuff is, so that we're not bringing all those people into our buildings, but it'll be nice to see all of those people in person again. So last summer they did a virtual training program. Myself attended, Mrs. Day, Mrs. Murphy, Mrs. Harden, and Mr. Cordes. Lots of great new ideas to bring back to the classroom. This year is going to be back in person again. I believe it's down in Texas somewhere. I can't quite remember. I do plan on attending that with your support. Academy assessments, we had to do the Academy assessment this year again. So the last couple years we were able to roll forward, but this year we actually had to complete the assessment, and we did reach the distinguished level, which is the highest level once again. We use the NAVTRAC system for our internship evaluation. So once the student finishes an internship, an email goes out from the NAVTRAC system, and the internship mentor does a quick evaluation on the students so they get some feedback on their internship, and then students are issued a certificate when they complete. We also will be doing I'm part of the Western New York NAF regional directors, and we're going to be doing the student conference again in a couple weeks, which is nice. We haven't done that in a couple years, so we'll have that going in a couple weeks. Niagara Frontier Industry Education Council. I'm the board president, been the president for about a year and a half now. In the fall, we did a career expo at the Galleria Mall, and it was very successful. We had, I think it was 40 plus presenters from various career fields, and we had a lot of traffic throughout the night. We are looking to do another one in the north towns in the next couple months, and we're also looking at partnering with the businesses to do a recruiting event, so that will be pretty cool as well. They are also going to be doing a conference in a couple weeks here, so we'll be sending students to that as well. They do coordinate the electronic college and career portfolios for us, which used to be called BEAT. We have a lot of our industry people come in and do the reviews on those and give the students feedback on their portfolios as well. So they're another great partner for us. Lots of college partnerships. We're always looking to improve those through various colleges. That's an ever-evolving process. Scholarships, we gave out about $5,000 in scholarships last year just from the academies. If anybody has questions, feel free to stop me as I go. I'm just trying to be respectful of the time. So far this year, as Megan said, we have had a lot of our events in person, which has been great. So our first advisory board meeting was virtual, but our next one tomorrow is going to be in person. We had an in-person internship parent meeting for our juniors that have the internship requirement. We did academy nights. We did have to reschedule them because of the weather, but we did make them up. We did both of our high school information nights. Like I said earlier, the Business and Finance did the Stock Market Challenge virtually. We did the Career Expo, and we also had our induction ceremony back in September. Upcoming events. Academy interviews, so we're in the middle of Academy application season, so those interviews are going to be taking place over the next few weeks. The advisory board meetings, as I said, we have another one tomorrow morning and one coming up in May. The NAF student conference, the NIFIC student conference, those are the groups we're going to send to those. The Visual Arts Academy is going to have portfolio adjudication reviews in May, the engineering fair in May, and the Students of Excellence ceremony April 22nd. April 21st, I believe it is. NAF Academy graduation and the District Academy graduation. Field trips and job shadows. We've been on some great trips this year. 2 of our groups went to Orion's Landing. The IT digital media group that went, they got to learn from the business owner about the business, how it started, some of the background stuff. When we went with life science, Viant Medical actually sponsored lunch for them and did a lot of extra content for them. So you can see here, Jay Such from Viant, he was talking about a lot of the medical devices that they make. They had a few other people from Viant talking about different careers there. So not only were they getting to experience the VR and doing the team building, but they also got a lot of extra stuff from that group. The Business and Finance group, they went to Buffalo River Works. Again, they learned all about that business, learned about some of the different careers there, and then they got to participate in the ropes course while they were there. Perkins Grant. So the Perkins Grant is new to us this year. We were awarded approximately $50,000. We're in the process of making those purchases now. So we're looking at getting 2 new CNC lasers, 1 for each high school, 4 classroom sets of programmable robots, and then 15 sets of VR goggles. Let me tell you how hard it is to find VR goggles right now. So we're in the process of that, trying to bring some of the latest and greatest technology to our students, and then also some things for our teachers to help with, like our post-graduation survey, where we're asking questions like, what are you doing now? How did things go in the academy? Is there other academies that weren't available? For example, the education one, we've gotten that a couple times. So that survey is pretty fresh. We've only had a few responses so far, but we are in the process of that currently right now. What you guys really want to know about Academy enrollment. So here's the enrollment for the last 6 years. So this, I guess, isn't my updated one. I did update this yesterday. So as of last week, it was at 84. As of today, the applications were at 154. They technically closed yesterday, so we're quite a good showing on applications. We're very excited about that. So over the next few weeks, we will be reviewing those applications and getting students enrolled into their various academies. You can see the past several years, how many students in each academy, the academy completers versus who enrolled. So sometimes we do lose a couple students. So I like to look at this too, because if you look at the size of the cohorts for the last several years, you can see we're trending slightly downward. But usually we have right around 25% of our student body enrolls in one of the 5 academy programs, which is pretty good. That's a pretty big number. What I did add to this that I didn't have in your original presentation, because I thought it was good information for you guys, is the cohort drop. So this current cohort was a cohort that came in as COVID began. Lots of trials and tribulations, as you know, over the last couple of years. I've started paying more attention as, we might lose a student from an academy. Where are they going? Why are they leaving us? So we had, I believe, about 9 of them were no longer interested. We had some course failures. 1 person left because they wanted to pursue more AP courses. We had 5 students transferred to other districts. We had 1 student graduate early. We had a couple students that we took from one academy into another. We had 1 for health reasons. We had 2 for Boces. They decided to go into an 11th grade Boces program. A couple that just did not want to do the extra work, and then a few that did not finish the requirements. So this is something we'll be tracking heavily over the next couple cohorts and looking for trends, seeing if there's ways that I might be able to put in the Perkins Grant or something like that to support these students to see their program through. But I thought this was good information for me to share, so I added it in. Again, I apologize. The thought came to me late last week after I had already submitted this, so. Marketing and PR. So we're doing a lot more around trying to get the word out there. Matt has started his weekly bulletin, so we've been trying to get some information in there to show the district all the great things that we're doing. School newsletters, we try to get things in their monthly newsletters as much as possible. We send a lot of mailers home via snail mail or USPS. I do a lot of school messenger phone calls to call about events, academy nights, internship night, all that. Trying to get more into the social media, Facebook and Twitter. The Academy brochure. So one of our interns, we had 2 interns in our office this year, and kind of a vision of mine for a while is to do a really nice brochure to tell people about our Academy programs, and he's done a phenomenal job. We're in the feedback portion of that right now, and we're looking to get that printed up here in the next month or 2. So very excited about that. He did a phenomenal job on that. We've got some new signs and displays. We're working on some postcards to get the information out there. And then we also put some information in the West Seneca Community Guide through the Chamber of Commerce.
You gonna shoot any rockets off anymore? We used to go out and watch them.
They didn't do that this year again, so fingers crossed that they do it again next year.
It's fun.
Oh, tons of fun. So, just as a wrap-up, to get back to Ms. Dana's question earlier about the Education Academy, we're always, watching our enrollment, looking for ways to improve, trying to get feedback from the students. Are we offering you what you're looking for? So, we're always taking a look at that. And there's, obviously, with the teacher shortage, there's been a lot of renewed interest in that teacher academy. So we will definitely be having some discussions around that.
That'd be great. There's so many kids in other school districts that I know that are like shadowing their teachers and,
Gotcha.
Going back to their roots and really, figuring out if that's what they want to do and what better place to do it than, your own home district. So that's
Absolutely.
exciting to me.
Yeah, I've been, I'm always looking for new internship ideas, and that was kind of a thought I had. Hey, maybe one of these kids here, and we have a lot of interns that help with the community ed program. A lot of times if they're interested in education, we'll get them set up over there. So always looking for new ideas and keeping it fresh. Any other questions? It's great to see you all. And
Can I just say thank you for your work on getting that Perkins Grant? There's a $50,000 Perkins Grant that I know Dr. Merkel worked very hard on last year to get, so thank you for your work in doing that.
Absolutely, my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Appreciate that.
Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you for your hard work and passion. You really tell you're passionate about the program.
Oh, yes. I could be here all night.
It's 7:19, so we'll do number 5. We're just going to take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll begin with some other stuff. Hope that helped get through the long meeting. Everyone got a chance to use the restroom and say hello, and okay. Regular board business. Again, thank you to all the presenters. Thank you to the student reps and everyone who spoke. If I can have a motion to move on 6A through 6B.
I'll make a motion.
Diane? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Peter? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Move 7-0, 7-0. If I can have a motion to move on 6C, please.
I'll make a motion.
Diane, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Pete, any discussion?
My discussion will be the same as my discussion on we did do certification.
Okay, great, thank you. All in favor of 6C?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Move 6-1.
So we went through 6 then, right?
Yep.
If I could just take a quick moment, we actually have somebody that was just appointed here, Emily Cataldo. Can you stand up, Emily? Emily, do you want to, Emily's actually going to be new, there she is, right there, so. Yeah, let's give her a round of applause first, then I'll tell you why later. Going to be a new living environment teacher for us over at East Senior. Ms. Bears, you'll be happy to know she's interested in pursuing the Chem Cert as well, which will make her extremely marketable to us as well. So I sat with Emily, really enjoyed the conversation, just the creativity, bringing that into the science classroom. I think it's going to be so critical for our folks. You've got big shoes to fill, I will say, but I'm very confident you'll fill them. And I will tell you, when I talked to your superintendent, he could not have been more excited for your opportunity, but also more, upset that he was losing you. So just wanted to say congratulations to you. You brought somebody with you. Did you want to introduce them?
I did. This is my father, John Cataldo. He was he's a recently retired elementary school principal of North Collins and is now into the sciences reading and is very interested in joining me with and talking to you guys about education in general and your literacy program. So we're both very excited to be a part of the West Seneca district. So thank you very much.
Congratulations and welcome. And I know that Mrs. Persico already had some conversation with your dad, too, about folding the science into literacy. So congratulations. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you'll also be excited because next year we're going to put in new labs, science labs.
Science labs,
So,
high
yeah.
schools. Yep.
Excellent, thank you. If we can, looks like we're going to create a position. If we can have, may I have a motion to move on 7A?
I'll motion.
Jody? May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Liz?
Yep.
Okay, any discussion?
Do we know where this is going?
Transportation.
This is the bus garage. Yeah, transportation.
And they will not have they can't drive a bus, right?
They cannot, we're not saying specifically you can't apply if you have a CDL, but the intent is for them to stay in the office.
Excellent. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Move 7-0. If I can have a motion to move on 7B through 8F, and again, I'll give you time to look through it.
They're no longer interested?
Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. 7B through 8F. There's also Mary's being removed from there, no longer interested in the position. Thank you for that note.
You said 8F?
Yes. Looking for a motion to move on 7B through 8F.
I'll move.
Minus Mary, Pete.
I'll second.
Jody, any discussion on anything in there?
I would just want to thank Ryan Keller for his service to the district. It was hard to motion on that. He was someone that I knew as a student at East Middle, as well as someone who was an administrator when my son was at East Middle, and wish him all the best.
Great, you had the
Great guy.
opportunity to see him on his last day. I
Absolutely.
mean, we had a building tour, and I couldn't believe the amount of kids coming by to say goodbye and good luck. And it seems like he's really going to enjoy the new job, though.
Jody, if you had a tough time saying goodbye to him, trust me, he had a tougher time saying goodbye to that building. He's given a lot to that
I
school
couldn't go to
community.
that building tour. There was no way. I had a conversation with him before, but that was it. So,
Very excited for him.
The
Yeah.
stuff
Exciting.
he's doing at the new place seems really interesting.
he really did
So,
great things for the building with Dr. Lochran and now with his
Absolutely.
new parents.
Absolutely.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Do 8G. May I have a motion to accept 8G, please?
I'll make a motion.
Diane, May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Peter? Any discussion? Usual?
Certification, yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Opposed.
Move 6-1. If I may have a motion to move on 8H through 8L, please.
I'll make a motion.
Diane? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Molly? Thank you. Any discussion on those? No problem. And that's 8H through 8L. Good. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? 7-0. Okay. May I have a motion to move on 9A through 10F? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. 9A through 9D. I apologize about that. May I have a motion to move on 9A through 9D?
Do you have to approve the minutes?
Jody, did I get the minutes in there? I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, we do have to approve the minutes, I believe. Right, Nicole?
What was that?
We approved the minutes, correct?
The reports, we approved the reports? No.
No?
9A
No.
through 10.
Yeah, you don't have to approve 9.
Okay. So if we do 9A through 10F?
I'll move on it.
Okay, Jody. How about second? Is
I'll second.
Jan? Okay. Any discussion? I had a note down here. Just want to make sure we look at the donations. That's great. Molly Berger, the Tower Foundation, Elizabeth Tower Foundation.
Yeah, there was a nice donation.
Yeah, great. Donations are always appreciated. 9 through 10. So any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Move 7-0. G. Okay, may I have a motion to accept 10G?
I'll make a motion.
Liz? Yeah, I'll do the motion if I can have a second for 10G.
I'll second.
Diane? Now, we can have a discussion.
I just have a question, that this is a trip to Orlando, Florida, and previously in the year, we stated, I don't think we did not approve a trip, but we stated we are only approving trips within New York, if my memory serves me correct. It was like a Mount Vernon hockey trip that we discussed it on.
So we had some conversation after that, and we talked about the idea that a relatively small group of kids whose parents, generally speaking, are going to be going with them, or there'll be other adults responsible. Biggest concern was just having somebody coach with a team full of kids, or a marching band or something like that, out of state if somebody had to quarantine or something like that. In this particular situation, there was a level of comfort expressed. I know we had some board conversation and discussion about this as well, that if parents were going to be there as well, and a lot of times in this particular trip, I will say that it's often used as almost like a vacation, that there was a level of comfort with that. So it wouldn't just be all on the coach, or heaven forbid the coach had to quarantine or something like that, then who's taking care of the kids? So we feel that there'll be appropriate adult supervision down there for the kids to be able to help them handle this. And it's a relatively small group of kids that are going, so.
So will all parents be traveling with all students?
I can't say every single kid's parent is going to be there, but every student will have somebody that'll be kind of saying, I'm sort of responsible for this student. So there'll be a number of adults down there. And again, it's a relatively small number of kids that are going. We were trying to sort of look at this in a more nuanced, fashion, as opposed to using one big, broad, sweeping paintbrush. That's all.
Any other discussion?
No easy decisions,
Yeah.
Jody. So I understand where you're coming from.
It's hard because there's other trips that didn't happen because they were bigger. bigger population, I guess.
I will say we also had folks that were running these trips that were still willing to be able to do this, as opposed to in some of the other cases, there was a greater level of concern because of the larger numbers that we'd be dealing with. So
these trips will be on a case-by-case basis.
we really have been kind of looking at them from that standpoint, just sort of, again, trying to take a more nuanced approach, as opposed to saying not all or none, saying, all right, let's dig a little deeper into the actual trip itself. And, what other risk factors or mitigating factors might be in place. In this case, there was a level of comfort because we felt there were enough mitigating factors that in the event that there were an illness or something like that, and given the relatively small number of kids, and given the fact that a lot of the parents were already kind of planning on heading down there, and given the fact that the people running the trip were comfortable with it, we put all those things together and said we thought this would be appropriate. No easy decisions. So I understand.
My own child
Yeah.
for sports, so I understand the whole craziness of traveling with a child for sports.
Yeah.
But, we don't need, let's just say, Mr. Bystrack responsible for Mr. B and
Yep.
student who.
Yeah. Yep. Again, no easy decisions.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so pass 6-0 with one abstain. If I can have a motion to move on 10H through 10N, please?
Through what?
I'm sorry, 10H through 10N. Jody?
I'll second.
Diane? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? 7-0. If I can have a motion to move on 10N, I'm sorry, 10O, please?
I'll motion.
Jody?
And I'll second.
Diane? Those in favor?
No, how about discussion?
Discussion?
Oh, yeah, discussion, I'm sorry about that, I apologize. Discussion on 10O?
This is a very expensive item. The governor's budget isn't due until April 1st. At this point, we have no indication of our state aid. It is premature to make additions that could negatively impact our tax rate until we see the whole picture, and I'll be voting no.
Thank you, Jan. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Molly?
I've listened to feedback from different groups within the district, as I expect leadership to do the same. Leadership should be collaborative and inclusive, always working to achieve a shared measurable goal. At the end of the day, every vote I cast, I do so with the best interest of students at heart. I'm concerned that our board is often placed in urgent situations unnecessarily. This contract did not need to be on the February agenda. As of Wednesday, January 26th, this item was not on our agenda. On the afternoon of Friday, January 28th, we received this late addition to the agenda. Many last-minute items have been placed on our agenda lately, and I know our board has expressed concern over this. Adding last-minute agenda items in this manner goes against our board operating policy and procedures. Page 21 of our manual reads, any board member may request that an item be placed on the agenda for consideration 6 business days prior to the meeting via an email request to the entire board. For the record, this did not happen. It continues to read, any question shall be directed to the president. The president will then discuss the proposal with the superintendent to determine whether to include the item. It should be noted that a board member has the right to bring up any item under new business on the agenda. I speak as a working mom with 2 students in this district, and we all have an incredibly busy calendar. Last-minute additions make it difficult for most of our board members to do their homework, ask proper questions, and have adequate discussion. Our volunteer time should be respected. This is especially true when calling special board meetings. 2 board members cannot attend a short-notice special board meeting last week due to extenuating circumstances, while 2 others had to adjust their schedules to attend. I urge our board to seriously consider the use of best practices when it comes to last-minute agenda items and calling special board meetings to allow our board the time it needs to make important decisions
for our students and school community.
Thank you, Molly. Appreciate it. Any other discussion?
Yes, I
Liz?
will be voting no on this contract extension because part of my role as a school board member is to listen to feedback from various stakeholders within the district. Based on that feedback and my belief that the structure of curriculum in this district is not effective, nor does it serve the best interest of the students, I cannot ethically nor financially vote on this other than no.
Thank you.
Just wanted to make that statement.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other discussion?
I would like to discuss the fact that said feedback was received. Not quite sure how that feedback was obtained. Not really sure how that was. I was handed an envelope with some feedback that I refused to look at because I do not know the proper chains in which it was obtained by a member of our board. That is my discussion.
Okay, I think we'll also discuss working on fixing some of those issues at our next board meeting as far as the communication and the agenda items and all that. Molly, I've got that all written down. I do thank you for that. Any other discussion on the matter? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Opposed.
Motion moves 4-3. Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for your feedback. I will move on to public comments, number 12. I do not have to move on number 11, correct, Nicole? Okay. You can do public comments on any of the topics. I have one person signed up. So again, I'll read the public comment section as a time set aside for the community to speak directly to the Board of Education. This section is for any comments that were not addressed during the first time or on the agenda. Each speaker is given 3 minutes with the total allotted time to last no more than 30 minutes. When called, please step up to the podium and state your name and address. Please be respectful in your comments and do not divulge any personal or confidential information. The information shared will be carefully considered and the appropriate person will contact you. If you'd like to be contacted, please leave the information with the district clerk. I have a sign-up sheet. I'll start there. Jennifer, you still here?
I'm going to let another parent go first.
Okay.
Okay.
Just start with your name and address and give me 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Jen. I live at 47 Manhasset Street. I just have 3 questions. Is the capital project included in the budget? And will that increase the school taxes? In regards to what you mentioned, Matt, earlier, that and you guys voted on a clerk for the bus garages, is there going to be another way to get notifications to parents when the bus is late so the kids don't stay out in the cold in negative-degree weather? The other thing is in regards to what you guys discussed about the boys' trip. Now, I know Frontier is a smaller district, but they just had their senior class go to Walt Disney World, and they collaborated with numerous parents, teachers, to make sure that the senior graduated class was able to make this trip. I don't know why we cannot collaborate with parents and other teachers to allow schools for 8th grade DC trip. I remember, and I know that the DC trip now is a 3-day weekend kind of thing, but I remember going in 5th grade and having the Washington DC trip as a 1-day trip. So if that is an issue for parents, teachers to have the that long stay weekend to make if they have to quarantine, etc., there should be a way to get these kids to do these activities and make sure that they have that benefits for these field trips going forward, because if a small school district like Frontier, yes, it's a lot, but if they can do it, West Seneca can do and collaborate with these teachers, because if you're not reaching out to these parents, finding out what they want for their child. We have a lot of parents in the community that are willing to step up and make sure that their child can attend these activities that are outside of New York State. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
You're good, you're good.
Sure. Hello,
Yes,
if you wanna.
never been to one of these, haven't been here in 20 or 35 years in this school, so I'm kind of nervous.
Thank you for coming. It's You're amongst friends. If you want to do your name and
My name's
address.
Rodney Sheehan. I live at 2375 Berg Road in West Seneca.
Thank you.
I believe my statement would probably go to the superintendent. I'm kind of curious how 3 of your students can be sitting at a special event within a school, or a nighttime event within a school, be sworn at and threatened by a parent. 3 students, 2 students, their parents called the principal. Principal never got back to them. Never talked to the students, actually threw the students out of the school that night. Where do we go with this?
I need some more information from you. Can
Well,
we?
I can't give you events,
Well,
I'm not going to give you names here.
No, but
No,
can
I'm
you,
not here. I'm
can you
saying-
stick around until the meeting's
Oh, yeah.
over for a
Yeah,
second?
I'll just get some
and make
information
sure we
from you,
connect?
just so I can find out about, I mean, yeah. Was this recent? Can I just ask?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Don't,
Sir, your first name again, was it Rodney?
Rodney, yeah.
Okay.
thank you, Rodney.
You're welcome.
Any other parents? Sir?
Good evening. Vince Vanderlip, 52 Sunset Creek Drive.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I just wanted to acknowledge, I walked in a little bit late. I did catch the end of the Academies presentation. I think that everybody here knows that our Academy system is a point of pride in this district. I have a son that's benefiting from the Health Science Academy. He has obtained a paid internship at a medical office, and it's going to help him to gain that experience moving into college. So we need the academies are a great thing. I'm glad that we're using data to kind of track where the students are ending up, how they're, it's not a terrible thing. Like when you see that drop, it's not a terrible thing, because you would rather have a child make that decision while they're in high school that they don't like that profession than getting 3 years into college and into a mountain of debt before they make that decision. So I think that, I want to make sure that that's not a bad thing when those students make those decisions. The second thing I want to appreciate the fact that the baseball trip has been approved. I also want to appreciate the fact that Jody asked good questions about that. And Matt, I do give you credit for engaging in conversation around that and recognizing that it was different, and that we need to be flexible during this pandemic. Things are changing. We are seeing the floodwaters begin to recede somewhat, and hopefully by the end of the year, these seniors can have a trip. So I just think we need to keep an open mind to those things and know that these policies are not static, they are fluid, and we need to continue to have good conversation around that. The second thing is, or the next thing is, the idea of data-driven decision-making. We hear that from our administrators a lot, that teachers need to use data to make good decisions. I would ask what data you used tonight, to make the decision to extend the contract. You folks need to really have that conversation. And then as far as what else I just heard tonight, as a building principal in another district, it's my job to make sure that the code of conduct is followed and that students are held accountable to the code of conduct. And I think that one of the things that I heard tonight is that you got to ask, did you follow your own rules tonight? Did you follow your own rules in this room with the way that you handle things? So that's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any others? Okay. Again, just want to take a moment and thank everyone for taking the time to speak. I know sometimes it's difficult, but I do appreciate the involvement in the community and taking the time to come here tonight. Let's see. Move on to number 13, Board of Education discussion. I know Diane is trying to coordinate an event. We were looking at the next work session, but we may not have it. Do we still want to have a speaker at that work session, or?
Is there a possibility we can discuss moving that work session because of board unavailability? The next one.
The next one upcoming? Yeah, we can get an email kind of thing going together. I mean,
The agenda card is great, but I know that I can't be there.
Yeah.
I have a work commitment that I won't be in the state for, so.
yeah, I mean, you could put it out, if you want to put it out to the board with the availability. I'm not sure what's on the agenda, if anything. We're looking at using it as a work session to kind of work on some of the different communication aspects.
The only thing I think right now is off the top of my head is a math science update that I'm thinking of. I don't know if there's anything else on the agenda at this point.
And then I've got some feedback from a few board members about,
Because originally we had John Delbo, but he's going to do it in June.
But we have Will on there for the revenues.
Okay.
we have Will on there also? Okay. So I know there's also a few board members we're looking at maybe not having as many presenters in one night to give us some time to discuss and work through some actual board actionable items. So we'll work on that. Maybe I'll put out an email tomorrow. I think, did you put out a text or an email?
I put out an email asking board members that if you had any concerns about the number of presenters we have, if you wanted to pare it down, to get back to me. I haven't heard anything back yet.
Okay.
So I know people are busy, and but just to kind of see what we want to do going forward. I think the presentations we had tonight were great, very informative, help us to understand especially when it comes time for budget, that, we know what we want to fund. Like, a couple of years ago, we put on a decent number of new Boces programs because we knew there was a need in the school for that. And so, when it comes time for budget and that, we need to know that. So it's good to hear from, that the programs are alive and well. So just, look at the presenter schedule, see if there's any you don't want to hear from for the rest of the year. Also, if we want to do a retreat, again, I sent something out and I haven't heard anything back. Do people want it? Do you want to wait till the summer to do, or what do you want to do? So if
Can
you
we think
just-
about it a little bit more, just
Oh, absolutely,
time-wise?
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that email just came out, Diane, right? You just sent that out this week?
Yeah, I think it was within the last
Yeah.
24, 48 hours.
Yeah,
So
so I think,
figure give it the rest of the week to look
Yeah.
at it and digest.
Yeah,
I
so
just-
just look, so I'm just reminding you that, look at it and see, what you want to do for the rest of the year. If you want to do a retreat on one of the board nights,
yeah, NYSEBA has an incredible list of board retreats that we can use. So I think it would also be
Great.
really nice as a group to look at
So if
what
you wanna send
retreats
those-
should be.
Yeah.
It's right on our NYSEBA website, so it's right under the trainings. So we
Training?
could take a look at that
Okay.
and maybe decide as a group which ones we would want to
Yeah.
target for
Is it,
personal
do
development.
Do they have a person, or is it like a virtual thing?
No,
they
yeah, it's
bring a
both.
person.
Both? Okay.
I think some do cost a little bit of money, but it's lower because we're members.
Okay.
But some are free.
Oh, great.
And some of the ones that are free, I think, would be really beneficial for us to start off with. But
Yeah.
it should be, a group decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can put out a few, take a look at the free options, maybe I'll put out.
I can send the link if
Oh.
you'd like of the trainings, just so
Yeah, I was-
everyone can see it.
Yeah, I think I saw an email showing,
I know, that's how I feel too.
I got it through February and then.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again, I'm very, very appreciative of everyone's commitment, to the different items. Sometimes I get excited about having presentations and I kind of forget, sometimes it's better to actually converse and work with as opposed to just having a presentation. So we can kind of look at some of those and pare it down or move them around a little bit and give a little more board time to talk about things that the board's looking to accomplish as a whole or some goals that the board wants to set.
And if we're going to do that, to have a discussion, it should be a focused discussion. You
Yes.
should set up some topics ahead of
Don't-
time and not just.
Yeah, well, I think the NYSEBA people come in and they really help facilitate the meetings.
That'd be great.
And I think at this point, that's really what we could use.
Okay, so put together an email with some of the different options, we can look at it, and then if you guys are, we'll find out what month you're thinking would be good for that, as opposed to trying to pick the exact date. We'll pick what month people, February's bad for everybody, we'll go from there. But
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to organize it by February.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we'll start with the month, and then we'll pare it down to when we can make it.
I also wanted to say, when I spoke with Patrick at NYSIBA, he asked that one particular retreat, if it would just be done on the weekend, because he's coming from, out of town. So
Okay.
he could do it on a weekend.
Okay.
But I think February is going to be tough for all of
Yeah,
us.
that's understandable.
And there's, we have a week off, and I would really like to have a week off.
Sure.
I think we got to all use it. So if we could look maybe March and beyond.
And I think Liz sent me a thing from NYSBA that,
The survey?
the survey.
Yeah.
So
for
it
board
just kind
members,
of
yeah.
asked you questions so that they could focus the retreat for
Based on our
certain ways.
results,
So,
yeah. Based on the results of the survey,
Yeah, and I
they
think
guard.
it was only 10 or 12 questions or something. It was a
Yep.
short survey.
Yep, that's an option too.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love that.
Yep.
I
They're
appreciate
really
it. And then
great.
maybe next year we can incorporate those types of questions into our own board survey. Yeah. Or if it's not me, other board, whatever board members are here. Okay, I think we're good on discussion on that. Anything else related to the board?
I just want to say, on the 9th of February, I have an appointment with Burke and also with Gallivan. Our main concern is state aid, and the governor doesn't have to have, the budget until April 1st, and sometimes that doesn't happen. We don't know because of all of the COVID aid that we've gotten, and it's been a lot. We've been able to do a lot of spending, but we are concerned about what the state aid picture will look like, and I think it'll be interesting. But hopefully, they'll give us, at least we can tell them what we think. But it's on the 9th. One's in the morning, one's in the afternoon.
Is that virtual or is that real?
It's virtual.
Virtual?
It's virtual. It was going to be in person in Albany, but the state buildings are all shut down.
Yeah.
Governor Hochul has closed
I
those
saw
buildings.
the schedule for the day.
Right, so
That's
there's
cool
one,
you're able to do that
so,
for us. I
right.
think Molly's doing it also, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, when Burke and Gallivan, it's during working hours, so.
Okay.
But I trust that, Jan will represent well, so she's
Yeah.
been doing it a long time.
But anyway, they'll hear from us, and we're really concerned.
Great.
Because we don't know, we may, we may have to lay off a lot. It's just a possibility.
Thank you for doing that,
Because
Jen.
we were used to a
thank
lot
you
of
guys
extra
for-
money coming in, and it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this federal fund line is going to dry up.
yep.
What? Thank you. I will, make a motion. Make a motion to go into executive, please. I'd like, if someone can make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law. Jody? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Diane? All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? 7-0. Okay, we're going to go into executive, and we will, when we come back, we will not be conducting any other public business. Is that the proper way to say it? Great, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to make a motion, I'll make a motion to dismiss. Can I have a second, please? I'll second. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Have a great night, everybody.